Hello friends, welcome you all. I am Sundar from Symphonia Wealth. The topic what we are going to see today is I've actually sold my flat. So I'm going to explain to you why I took this decision and what are the benefits of selling a flat. So generally we keep hearing about buying a flat and creating an asset and things like that. But I have actually sold my house and I've actually moved to a rented house. So why did I do this is because I was living in a 2-bedroom flat which was not very comfortable to me. I needed a bigger space. So then I thought I should move to a 3-bedroom. Then the question came, should I be buying a 3-bedroom house or should I be going on a rented house? I'm already at the age of 41. So I decided not to borrow money year after and no more EMIs in my life. So which is one thing which I've been always preaching and I have been always following. So I decided I will not move to a 3 BHK with a EMI. Rather I would pay a rent so that I can actually afford a bigger place at a much lesser price. Then came the question of what should I do with my existing house? As many of us would have thought that I would have actually given it for rent and I would have just maintained that property. But I had a different approach to it where I thought owning a house might not be a very good decision because my primary objective is to achieve financial freedom. So what I mean by that is I should never work for making money or to sustain my living. I should be working because it's my passion and definitely not for making money. So for me to achieve that financial freedom, my rough calculation is I should have at least a corpus of about 5 crores. I can actually become financially independent and work as per my convenience and as per my terms and not otherwise. So I decided that the 2-bedroom flat which I was owning, if I could actually sell, because maintaining the house is a very big trouble for many of us and especially for me it is definitely not my cup of tea, because managing the tenant, managing the house and all these things needs a lot of time and energy. And by putting all these things, what is the outcome? Your rental yields are going to be less than 1.5% or less than 2%. And we all know that even by putting money in a savings account, you actually make 3% to 3.5%. And by putting money in an FD, you actually can make it returns of more than 6-7% without taking any risk. So why settle for a 1.5% with all this headache of maintaining the house, maintaining the tenant, and if the tenant leaves, to find one more tenant and things like that. So managing the property was not my cup of tea and definitely it was not financially a viable thing to do. So I thought if I sell the property, I would get some reasonable lump sum amount which I can channelize towards my financial freedom so that I can actually achieve my corpus much earlier than what I actually anticipated. So I am going to explain all those things later. So another important reason why I decided to sell my house is because one, the flat actually does not appreciate the way in which a land appreciates. We all know that. Okay, in fact, flat becomes a depreciating asset. We will not get the same price of an old flat compared to a new flat. Normally the differences could be 10, 20, 30% depending upon how long you have held the flat and how well it has been maintained. And it becomes even more difficult as the house becomes older and older to even sell the house. Longer the age of the flat, more difficult is to sell the flat. And on top of it, it is depreciating. So it is better to sell and not to own it. And the next most important thing is the requirement of real estate keeps changing. So like for example, 10 years before, the flat which I bought was more than enough for me. But in the next 3, 4, 5 years, it actually becomes smaller and I thought remaining in this flat could be very difficult and not very convenient. So I thought I should move to a bigger property. Maybe 5 years from now or 10 years from now, the property could be much bigger than what I actually require. Maybe a smaller house could be much more easy for me to maintain. So these things keep changing and sometimes you might not really like to settle down in Chennai. Maybe you want to move to a cooler place like Coimbatore or a Bangalore or any other place for that matter. So your requirement for real estate keeps changing. So naturally you can't keep buying so many houses because not everyone has got so much of resource to keep buying so many houses. Rather, you can actually achieve all these things by paying a small fee like a rent, where you can actually keep changing based on your requirement. Assuming you want to go to a bigger house, you move to a bigger house. You want to move to a newer city, you can go to a newer city, and things like that, where the entire flexibility and control is with you. So this advantage is a very big advantage of being in a rented house and not being in a own property. Another important advantage is, for you to achieve financial freedom, you should have a lot of liquidity in your hand and a lot of flexibility. So only if your money is held in financial assets like mutual funds or FDs or things like that, then only your corpus becomes a lot more flexible and a lot more liquid, so that you can use it and your money is going to be under your control. So there are various other reasons which made me think that selling the flat is a much better decision, not only financially, even in terms of other advantages. So I decided I should sell the house. So as we speak, I've already sold my house and I've already moved to a bigger 3 BHK, where my living has become a lot more comfortable today. So I'm going to explain in the next video about how much money I have actually made, how much I actually invested, and things like that in the next video. So as I told you, many of us don't think of selling a house, but I wanted to bring a live example, which is my own experience, so that it helps you to think that selling a house is not a very bad idea. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Symphonia Chennai, and please press the bell notification icon. Thank you for watching.